injury update on everybody?
Yeah, Nana's playing. Tom is still in a boot. I'd say it's unexpected.
Is it his knee or his ankle?
His ankle. He sprained his ankle. Okay. And it's I'd say not severe, but it's a good sprain, and it's not high, but it's it's not low. Right. It's kind of one of those mid. Yeah. But so that's going to take some time.
Has the message been received to the guys that you decided to sit there at the start of the second half?
Well, that's what you hope, right? And we practiced well, but then again, our practice quality is not always indicative of our play. And what I mean by that is, because you don't have great depth, sometimes you can have your way in practice, but still not go out and play well in a game. But I think the guys understand that there's a certain brand of basketball you have to play, a certain way, a certain expectation, and if you don't, then it doesn't matter who you are. You sit and watch.
Would you have wanted to do that earlier in the year, but couldn't because you didn't necessarily have the depth? Like, I know that's kind of a popular thing for coaches to do.
Yeah, and well, there's also a great deal at stake. So you're always, at that time, still this week, I think this might be the first week we're not in the first 4 out or something like that. So, so you also have to, it's a balancing act. And, but I mean, at this point, you're like, no, this is unacceptable.
Are you going to go back to the same starting lineup then?
Well, I would expect Amir Harris is probably the most likely guy to step into the starting lineup for Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll play James at the 2 and go from there.
Michigan State's kind of battling their
Yeah.
own issues. I mean, how are they now?
It's really, they're still, I mean, they just won at Michigan, and for whatever reason, IU's got their number, but I mean, I feel, and it's not often you say this, but I feel bad for Coach Izzo. But I mean, here's a guy that loses 2 lottery picks, and it seems like they're better, and they're on their way to a conference championship, and what kind of NCAA tournament run, and then it's just one guy after the next. They still have really good players, just less of them. And but Coach Izzo's always played a lot of guys, so I think he's got guys ready for the moment. And it's too bad about just all those guys, but hopefully they can get Ward back.
Do you feel like Cassius Winston kind of covers up some of their flaws just from the way he plays?
Yeah, I mean, he's right there for Player of the Year. There's no doubt. I mean, he's just so impressive. And there's a lot of impressive guys in this league. When you look at Carson Edwards and Ethan Happ, I mean, these are, when I say high quality, they're not only NBA things, but these are college All-Americans. And maybe National Player of the Year, and he's right there in my eyes. If you're the player in the Big Ten, you're going to be a final 3 or 4, right? So, but he's an excellent point guard. He's always been a bit of a nemesis for us, I know.
In March in general, the stats show that all Big Ten teams, the winning percentage just kind of goes down. It kind of gets closer. What about March do you feel like brings out the best in teams, or do you feel like it just gets a little harder to win?
Yeah, it's a good question. What exactly? I guess I've never thought about one month to the other. I know end of the year, usually things are a lot more intense, a lot more physical, and your most physical teams are going to do the best, and your teams with the best depth are going to do the best, and that's where your Michigan States of the world have always thrived. That might play a factor. I don't know for sure, but it seems to me as I go through my ring of emotions here that it just always seems like it's just so fit. You can't get to the foul line. You can't get it's like everything's a tough shot.
Changing up the routine, practicing up there. What all kind of went into that? Are you going to change anything else besides that, or what's kind of?
I think just staring at their Big Ten championship banners and their Final Fours and their national championship banners will hopefully get us in the right mindset for what we're going to face. I don't think we did a very good job as a coaching staff, especially me. We talked about what Michigan had at stake, but really empathizing with this is what you're going to come across. So they go out, whack a few threes with, late shot clock one, and then their 7-1 guy hits a couple, and it seems like we deflate, and you have to expect the worst a little bit. Know what these guys are. They're going to try and gut you, and then you have to play accordingly. And so one of the things we're going to, we've addressed that quite a bit, and we're going to keep addressing it. We're going to do it in their gym. We changed up the routine a couple years ago, and we had been okay on the road. Nobody's great on the road unless you're special, And when I say special, I mean like a Final Four type team or second weekend team. And, but this one, we just have not, the last two games, we've been non-compete in my book, so we've got to do something to rattle the cage.
Tim, during that Michigan broadcast, the ESPN crew was
You
pretty
play
critical.
Sawgrass?
I was there, stayed there.
Oh, okay.
at the hotel.
That's a great course.
They're critical of the players and said that this isn't a coaching issue, this is a player issue, and had some other remarks about the guys themselves. What's your response to that?
Well, I didn't hear everything, because we actually listened to Kent's broadcast. I did hear some of it. I have no response other than, I don't know exactly what he said. So here's what I'd say. I don't think we played very hard. And so that's why we ended up benching 3 guys. But we still, when you chew them out at halftime and then bench them, you got to give them another chance to go out there and redeem themselves. And so we did. And that's what I did. And so I really can't speak to that.
Do you feel like there's anybody that's, when they hit a couple threes and everybody deflates, do you think are there 1 or 2 guys that you feel like handle those things better than others? Or in general, do you think you
Yeah,
don't feel
collectively, we get quiet, and if we can still talk and communicate and talk game plan and do all those things on the floor and in huddles, usually that's a good sign. We've done that at times. It seems like it's easier to do it at home than it has been on the road. That just comes down to your bone deep belief in what you're doing and if you can do it. And that's my job as a coach, is to keep rallying those guys to find a way to win the game, and so we don't shut down.
Yes, Coach?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.